Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Time is an illusion. My name is Kirk, and today we are doing a sort of ask me anything, ask me everything, ask me a question, I'll tell you no lies, that kind of thing. Got a lot of questions on my Instagram, so that's cool. A lot of the questions were about music, so I guess you guys are into music or something, which is kind of cool. I am just going to jump right in and start with a really fun question, which is my top five favorite albums, music albums of all time. And this is hard. It's like, it's so hard to rank music because it's like, I don't know. I love so much different music, and it's not comparable. There's so many. It's just difficult. Like art is subjective, and you get different things out of different pieces of art. But I did my very best, and I actually made a whole big list of some of my favorite albums of all time. Some are super old, some are relatively new, but I'll just go down and talk about five that have really been huge for me in my life. Um, so one is "Lifted" or "The Story Is in the Soil, Keep Your Ear to the Ground" by Bright Eyes. And this was like a really monumental album for me when I was in my early years in college. I was super late to the Bright Eyes train, actually, if that matters, which it doesn't. Um, but listening to Bright Eyes, I was in a really like depressed, sad time of my life when I got into Bright Eyes, so it was kind of perfect. And it's just like I've always been into music that has sort of lyrical, like a highly lyrical aspect to it, some like poetry, a poetic aspect, and Bright Eyes is definitely falls under that category. Lifted especially is I think really cool and a really good album because I guess something I should mention is I am a big like album person. I listen to albums all the way through and like on repeat all the time. So as opposed to like individual songs, which is also cool, which is fine if you listen to it that way. But I really appreciate and I love albums that have a concept that try to do more than just put eight or nine songs together and ask you to listen to them. Albums that have a flow, albums that have something going on with them. Um, oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've been practicing. I've been doing eyeliner like every day. So I have I've gotten a little bit better at it, I would say. But yeah, like and especially Connor Oberst is one musician who I think really does try to who sees what they are doing as making art rather than um, just I don't know, just making music, just making songs. Um, which is there's nothing wrong with that, but I really do appreciate the fact that on Lifted there are extra musical components to it. There are things that don't make sense. There are running themes throughout. Obviously, the theme of being lifted. He mentions that lyrically a few times, but there's also just sort of like moments where musically you feel lifted. There are uh, Actually, if you listen to the album on repeat, which I think is really cool, it loops back over into itself, which is a very, it's not like mind blown level of whatever, but uh, it's not crazy, but it's cool, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate the idea of putting something more into um, making something more out of the whole. Like the sum is greater than sorry, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and Lifted is one of those albums that really has that quality to it. In addition to just having a bunch of really cool songs, really fun songs, it's also self-aware. It's like self-referential. Um, I love Bright Eyes, and this is I think probably my favorite Bright Eyes album, and I've listened to all of them basically, and their EPs, so you can trust me. Um, Alex, thank you. I've gotten a lot better since I was doing it, and really, I've just been doing it a lot. Um, I like wasn't very good at it this time last year. I because I hadn't done it before, so it really is has just been like practice, looking at videos and tutorials and things and reading up and just doing it often has made me better. So I highly recommend that if you want to get better at makeup. um, it's one of those things like drawing or like anything else, like you just have to do it and that's how you get better. I listened to it first digitally. This was in the age when torrenting was much easier and much more common. So I like torrented an entire discography of Bright Eyes. But later I did buy it on vinyl. Um, I I do like vinyl. I love listening to. I think that it's true that vinyl has like a better quality than digital, but I'm it's also, um, I think that you, people go over the top thinking about audio quality that way. I think that a lot of the time, and it's unfortunate, but a lot of the things we listen to and a lot of the things we hear are super compressed and are super digitized. That's just the nature of streaming. That's the nature of consuming music digitally. But at the same time, that's the world we live in, and that's okay. I think that if you are into music and you have a good sound system, vinyl is super dope and super fun. I also have tapes, like a small tape collection, and that's really nice. It does have a warmer tone. It does feel more natural. Um, so yeah, that's a good question. I'm practicing applying false eyelashes as of recently, aka New Year's Eve. I've never done false eyelashes. I'm kind of intrigued. I don't know. I feel like it would be fun. I feel like that's just, it's like doing makeup is fun for me, and I guess for like other people too, for sure. But it just seems like fun. It's like ooh, like like all of a sudden you have these explosive eyelashes, and that does seem really fun. Um, the second album of five is Heaven or Las Vegas by Cocteau Twins. Cocteau Twins is maybe my favorite band of all time. I'm really into shoegaze. Love love their brand of shoegaze especially. And what you will notice probably is that this album and the other are both like the heavy hitters of the groups, and it's like it's hard not to. It's like they're heavy hitters for a reason. They're top albums for a reason. Heaven or Las Vegas is definitely the most popular Cocteau Twins album. It was the last one they did with 4AD, um, and it has their big hits on it. Um, by no means does it's funny to talk about it's like it's so interesting to talk about music actually, but if you ask me like songs, I would never mention the songs from Heaven or Las Vegas, um, or necessarily Lifted by Bright Eyes. It's the album. The album is like again greater than the sum of its parts, and Heaven or Las Vegas is a, kind of like a flawless album in my opinion. It is killer from beginning to end. It's not in the same way. It's not like a piece in the same way that I would say that Lifted is kind of like a piece of music. It is more of just like an album of songs, but it is a really good album of songs. I highly recommend if you've never listened to Cocteau Twins, highly recommend that you give them a listen. Also, since we're talking about Cocteau Twins, one of the albums on my list that did not make it into the top five is Eco Pack by Faye Wong. Faye Wong is a Chinese pop singer and actress, and she actually collaborated with the Cocteau Twins, I think a few different times. But her music is also really dope, and her music is very influenced by Cocteau Twins. So if you're interested in something like that, highly recommend Faye Wong as well. Um, Third album, again a heavy hitter, is Watermark by Enya, which came out in 1985. Um, yeah, I love Enya. I'm a huge, huge Enya fan. Enya for life. Uh, she's amazing. Even if you're not into the whole new age vibe, and I totally, totally get that. Um, Her songwriting is phenomenal. Her songwriting is beautiful. She has a really beautiful voice. She's one of my like standout top musicians that I really love. I've listened to a good deal of her albums, but Watermark I think is my favorite. It has what is it called? Orinoco Flow on it, the very popular yeah, Sail Away song, and but also like some like darker, deeper reflections like Exile. Um, Highly, highly recommend this album and Enya in general. Enya is incredible. What's funny about Enya is basically all her albums start the same way. She always has like a piano instrumental on every single one of her albums. And so I do recommend that one. And then I also recommend her first album, which is actually she was hired to score like a mini series on like Celtic history, and she made an album of music out of that, and it's really cool. I forget what it's called, but I was listening to that on repeat for a really long time as well. But definitely, Watermark is one of those albums that I tend to like always keep on my phone, just because it is really soothing, it is really calming, and it's really beautiful. And it's like you know, some I used to be of the mindset, like of this sort of like toxic mindset that for art to be good, it had to be challenging, or it had to be like difficult or inaccessible to listen to. And letting myself love Enya and letting myself listen to Enya whenever I want to, and dealing with it, and being honest that maybe sometimes I'm not in the mood for something inaccessible or difficult to listen to. Um, I also really, really Enya has made my life infinitely better, um, just by doing that. And yeah, as Marion said, Faye Wong, she's talking about Faye Wong, I think, has specifically re-released Cocteau Twins records and songs in Cantonese, which is sick. It's like so cool to like cover, like to translate them and cover them. It's fucking beautiful. Uh, May said, I don't know why Enya Vibes reminds me of modern Frou Frou, aka Imogen Heap, and also Sia too. I've never really listened to Sia, but I totally get Imogen Heap vibes. I feel like it's even uh, beyond the music. Enya and Imogen Heap have totally, totally have the same vibe. Um, okay. Um, I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna acknowledge your question, Alex. I'm gonna finish the last two albums, and then I'll jump right on to your question. Um, so there's two more. These two are definitely the more obscure choices out of the five. Uh, Number four is the WikiLeaks mixtape by MIA. She released this, I think, in like 2011 or something. But like right around like right after Maya, her third album. No, right. I forget what her third album is called. But it was right around the time of her third album, and it is like sick. It is like so cool. MIA is one of my favorite artists. I think that um, like in her prime, she was like changing the landscape of music. She like what we hear today, like the popular music that is being made today, would not be what it is without MIA. I love her, and she doesn't. I don't think she gets the credit that she's really due for everything that she's made. It's like even the credit that she's given, I think she deserves more than that. And the WikiLeaks mixtape is uh, so cool. It's like preposterously cool. At one time, I had it burned onto a CD, and this is when I was living in California. and every day I would listen to it on the way to work and listen to it on the way home, and it was just like play on repeat. I would never turn it off. It would just be like on repeat always. And it's also such a powerful album because she's like attacking the music industry through this album by asserting that music should be free, by giving this music away for free. Um, it's amazing. I don't know where you can find it now. It used to be on SoundCloud. I downloaded it, 10 years ago, but I'm sure you can find it if you look for it. WikiLeaks mixtape, 2000 whatever. Um, yeah, MIA rules. So there is that. Um, Dude, yeah, Kevin, you are right. Uh, nothing does go as hard as "Let Me Hump You." She's a champion. Yeah, she's she's an icon. She is phenomenal. MIA kills. Um, yeah, and like speaking of her music videos, oh my God, right? Like her music videos were like a decade ahead of everybody else. She was doing things that no one else was doing, that no one else would do for another 10 years. Incredible. MIA is a champion. She just rules. There's nothing bad to say about MIA. She kicks ass and she's really dope. And I love her. And that's all there is to it. Um, the last song, and Louis, I see you in the chat. This is the album that I recommended to you the other day. This is it's just called L.A. Vampires and Zola Jesus, and maybe some of y'all have heard of either of those groups, L.A. Vampires and Zola Jesus. It's like a split. It's an album they made together. And this is again one of my favorite albums. Another album that I had on repeat forever in my car. Um, and it's just like a 30-minute album. It's like short and sweet of like really like dubby, drony music. And by dubby, I am not meaning dubstep. I'm meaning like dub, like drone dub. Um, but it's just a really cool combination. LA Vampires is Amanda Brown, who is this really incredible electro pop, electro noise musician. And Zola Jesus is uh, like in the sort of same realm, but like operatic vocals as well. And so the combination of the two of them making music together is just really, really sick. Highly recommend giving that a listen. This one I know is on Spotify, so if you want to look it up, it's LA Vampires and Zola Jesus. So good, so much fun. I listened to it the other day, and it stands the test of time. Um, Fun fact: um, Amanda Brown, who is LA Vampires, was in a band as a teenager, I think teenager, or just very young, with Bethany Cosentino of Best Coast. So if you know Best Coast, the surf rock, California rock artist, she's also really talented, and I also love her music. But the two of them were in a group together called Pocahontas, which, okay, like the name is appropriative for sure. But they they made they made a few like really really cool and really experimental, interesting drone tapes together that are along the same vibe as the LA Vampires and Zola Jesus thing. So if you listen to the LA Vampires Zola Jesus record, highly recommend also checking out Pocahontas. Um, yes, I don't know where you'd be able to listen to that. Maybe YouTube. Um, yes, Alex. Purity Ring. I love Purity Ring. I actually saw them live, um, like way back when at Fuck Yeah Fest in LA. It was really sick. They had this setup where they had like a huge like orchestral bass drum that had a light inside of it that whenever they hit the drum, ugh, it lit up. It was a really really fun show. I love Purity Ring too. They're also very like ahead of the curve. I feel like musically to be making the songs that they have been making. So cool. Like, who knew that we all loved such great music together? Um, yes. Um, okay. So now I'm going to go to Alex, your question. What does femininity and masculinity mean to you as a non-binary person? No segue, just going right into this. Do you ever do things to mix and match masculinity with femininity in the same look? So that is an interesting question. Um, Masculinity and femininity, these are very fluid, uh, fluid ideas, and of course they've changed throughout time, throughout history, um, and my personal take on these has of course changed through my life, as I'm sure for many of you, masculinity and femininity have sort of like altered or changed depending on the way that you see the world and who you know. Um, what does femininity and masculinity mean to me as a non-binary person? Masculinity and femininity, from a non-binary perspective, I think that those are sort of like the two poles as are regarded by society. We live in a world that is constructed. No, no, no. It's not off topic. This is great. I love, you know what? Like now let's also like maybe if someone has a science question, like I can answer that as well. Like seriously, this is called Ask Me Everything, not Ask Me Anything. I want off the wall questions. I want to change topics so quickly it makes my head spin. Um, but yeah, so we live in a world constructed by people, but largely by people who believe that only men and only women exist, right? Like the world has been formed in such a way by Western philosophy, by Western ideology, to assert that only men and only women exist. And so that is the gravity of the world that we're living in. That's the gravity of gender. And just because we know that that's not true, just because we know that like that's not how like gender really works, doesn't mean that we can escape socially the ideas of what masculinity and femininity mean. Um, so those two things I do see as like poles. Like you can look more masculine or you can look more feminine, and we everybody sort of understands what that means, or what that might mean when I say that. Um, and I think as a non-binary person, those two things become sort of the the reference points for what we can do and what is possible. As a non-binary person, I do not necessarily want to be perceived as either a man or a woman. I try to be perceived as non-binary, or at least to have people question, not be certain of what my gender identity might be, if they're not able to identify me as non-binary. Um, so that is sort of how I see it. And what do I do things to mix and match masculinity with femininity? Absolutely. Something that I do, one thing specifically that I do is if I am wearing more masculine clothes, if I'm wearing, for example, if I'm not wearing a bra, if I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans, if I don't have makeup on, that I would read pretty much normally as a cis man. But then having like a long earring, having like a feminine earring or other feminine accessories paired with like a more traditionally masculine look is like something that I often do to play with that, to get to like throwing something in that doesn't seem to fit. It's like throwing a wrench in the gears. It's like if everything else adds up to male or masculine, then having something that is obviously feminine or apparently feminine, quote unquote, um, that is something that I do, that you can do, that I do to blend or confuse or I don't know. It's actually kind of hard to blend. I think it's hard to blend the two. I think I've talked about this before, but especially for AMAB non-binary people, I think that we tend to either get read as a man or a trans woman, we're usually not categorized as non-binary. Funnily enough, no matter how we look, I think it's one of those things that, and the reason for this, I think, is because it's been a lot more normalized for women and for AFAB people to gender bend with their clothing than it is for men. So I think that it's just a process of like normalization. Like for years, for decades, it's been more normal for women to wear men's clothes, but the reverse is not true. So when we do play around with gender expectations, it's often turned into a binary, and we're either categorized as like a gender bending man or as a trans woman. Interesting, but that is what I found to be the case. Alex said, "I feel like sometimes I'll be wearing something feminine and will be perceived as androgynous when that's not what I was going for." Yeah, it's like it's really difficult to construct your appearance in a way that conveys conveys what you want it to convey. It is really difficult. I don't think I succeed at that all of the time. I can only I what I would say, what if I can be so bold as to maybe give like a little just like advice and tip, or at least how I approach this is I just try to wear stuff that makes me feel good about myself. It's like there are days when I am feeling more feminine or more masculine, either way, and I'll dress according to that. I'll dress according to what makes me feel like I look good, and just approaching it from that standpoint of how I want to feel, how I feel about myself, and not necessarily pinning um, pinning my happiness or my satisfaction on other people's acceptance of how I look. That has been huge for me. That has really helped me sort of um, deal with this like tangled mess of dressing, gender, living life, etc. That has been a big boost for me, I guess I would say. But it's still, you can't help how you feel. You can't help that. It's frustrating when you're perceived as other than you feel. That's always going to be just like a frustrating thing. It sucks. Some people aren't going to see you that way. Um, so yeah, I guess this kind of segues into another question I got on Instagram, which was someone asked me to show my favorite earring, and I do have it right here. I think if you've seen the streams before, I've worn it. It is oh gosh, it's just like a nice long dangly rose. Okay, it's not. You can see what it is. It's a long gold dangly rose. I got it in a like a vintage store in Brooklyn, and this is the kind of earring that I was talking about, where it's just something like dangly and long that's not like a stud or a ring necessarily, that signifies femininity more. Yeah, it is like Belle's Rose from Beauty and the Beast. It's very much like that. I think that that's interesting. I'm a rose person. Oh, thank you, Jonathan. You guys are so generous with your praise. Um, yeah, I am a total rose person, and I love having. I think this is like an ideal accessory for me, especially when I had shorter hair. It like, um, you know, um, yeah. This is actually the earring that I wore um, at my wedding to my partner. It's a very special earring to me for a number of different reasons, but I just love it. I'm a huge rose person. I'm literally wearing a shirt like with roses and flowers on it right now. You can't really see, but that's okay. You're gonna have to take my word for it. Um, yeah. Um, so thank you for asking that. I'm happy to share it with you. I do love earrings. I do love my whatever, my my little collection of earrings, and that is my favorite. Hi, Ajari. Thank you. Oh, it's cool to see you again. Good to know, and welcome, and thank you for joining us. Okay, how does Rose connect to my IG handle? Well, my IG handle is at sunrose, sunro dot se. If you are so inclined, you can follow me there. Um, and yeah, I just thought that that was it's just like a little tiny bit of wordplay. I love roses. I love the sun. I am a Leo, so all of that fits well. Roses are in season during Leo. Uh, the sun is the ruler of Leo. Ba ba ba. Um, da da da. Yeah, and so like sunrose is like sunrise. But yeah, thank you for asking that. Y'all are being too sweet right now. And Ananya, yes, I love earrings too. I don't wear them that much anymore now that my hair is long. I don't know what it is, but I think I just need to get my other ear pierced and then I'll start doing it again. Um, but yeah, so thank you all for asking that. I am going to oh gosh. This is a funny question. Let me shake things up because I think that this is hilarious. Um, I got the question on Instagram. What do you think of when you hear cheese? Um, I don't know. Uh, what does anyone think of when they hear the word cheese? This is I think of taking pictures. Like what else could you think of when you hear cheese? Like what you know there there are so few like contexts in which hearing just the word cheese is not about taking pictures. So yeah, that's that's what I think about. So I'm happy to answer that question. I hope that the person who asked it is here because obviously it was a burning question and they needed to know. Um, oh, well, see, okay, see, this is important. Sorry, I'm like my hair is bothering me. This is important. I'm glad we got this out into the open. I'm glad I answered this question because now we get to talk about how not everybody sees the world differently. Katrina thinks food when they hear cheese, and I think photo. And Katrina, thank you for asking. Thank you for complimenting my eyeliner skills. I appreciate it. I worked hard. My pronouns are they, them. So thank you for asking that as well. And welcome, and I'm glad that you're here. Um, okay, well, I guess I'm alone in thinking photo, uh, but I'll be okay. I'll be okay, guys. Don't worry about me. Um, yeah, so cheese. Let's talk about cheese for a second. I am I don't know. Like, what are y'all's favorite cheeses? Like, I'm a big extra sharp cheddar fan. I think that it's great as is, just straight up. It's great with sandwiches. It's great melted on things. Also Parmesan. Who can say no to Parmesan? Brie is a really nice cheese. I'm not so big a fan of blue cheeses and like the other stinky cheeses, I guess. But yeah, like more of like a cheddar. I'm down with Gouda. I'm down with goat's cheese. Cheese is a huge thing for me and my family. We are all we're big cheese heads. Not from Wisconsin, just love cheese. Um, ooh, creamy washed rind all the way. Um, oh, provolone. Provolone's great. Like a meatball sub with provolone on it. Oh, that's the jam. Provolone melts really well. Oh, pepper jack, hell yeah. I love a good pepper jack cheese. I've had like habanero pepper jack, which is really, really good. Um, ooh, wow. We got the cheese Rex coming, so please pay attention, y'all, because your life will be enriched by this cheese. Um, Katrina said my boyfriend got me into charcuterie boards, and now I'm into some sort of like creamy cheese. It's creamy on the inside, but the outside is rock hard and pure green. Whoa, that's interesting. Yeah, Jonathan, you have a connection at Beechers. I love Beechers. Oh my gosh, wow. learning new things every day. It's great cheese. Oh my gosh, Carolina Reaper pepper jack. That sounds delicious. Oh, I can imagine that. Okay, you know what? You know what's really good, like pepper jack sandwich cheese, is a turkey sandwich with cranberry sauce and mustard. Trust me on this. And throw a little pepper jack on there, and it sound like with an extra spicy pepper jack. That sounds amazing. Um, wow. Wait, what? How did I not know this? Wow. Okay. Seriously, learning new things every day. Yes, please. Grilled cheese all the way. Oh my god. Okay. Well, my cat is coming in to yell at me, but that's okay. Um, yes, please. Grilled cheese party soon. Frick. Okay, that's really cool. Happy. I'm extraordinarily happy I brought up the cheese question. Um, wow. Gosh, that's that's wild. That's so interesting. It must have like such an I will have to talk about that sometime. That's so cool. Um, yes. So now ooh, okay. Well, we're on the subject of food, so let's continue. Kevin said, "Yo, when I worked at Balducci's, we made a sandwich with turkey, brie, green apple, and honey mustard. I love that. The brie and green apple combo is solid. That sounds amazing. Um, oh no, um, this chat is now closed to those under 18. Please avert your eyes. Alex said, I have a random question again. What is your favorite drug of choice, and what hard drug describes your personality best? So I love uh, the marijuana. I am a weed person all day long. Nothing else I've ever had compares to it. It's fun. It's easy. It's chill. Um, it's easy to share. It's cool. Uh, um, but yeah, I do really like weed, and that's a big vibe for me. I actually am sober from alcohol. I don't drink anymore. I used to, and so yes, okay, some potheads in the chat, I guess. Um, what hard drug? Yes, reefer madness. Oh my gosh. Um, yeah, wow. Um, I'm trying to think what hard drug best describes my personality. Oh, I don't know, man. Uh, I I guess like mushrooms. Like I like am a person who likes being out in nature. I love just like thinking about life and like going deep and hard on 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 like philosophical thoughts and not non-philosophical thoughts as well, just like ideological stuff. Um, Kevin, you know me so well, and Marion, surprise, surprise, you also know me so well. Um, I've actually only done mushrooms once, twice, but it was a really cool experience. I do recommend it. But be safe out there, y'all. Do not f around. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's you can tell I'm psychedelic in my mind. Um, oh, this is so funny. The like the the prude in me is like very nervous right now about talking about this stuff. Uh, it's like, what if someone calls the cops? Oh my God. So do not call the cops. I will find out. Um, uh, of course, I'll find out. That's such a funny thing to say, actually. um, wow. I'm loving it, baby. I'm loving this conversation. Um, so, what happens on live stays on live. Okay, I trust you guys. I trust you guys. Okay. So I thank you. Thank you for that. Um, I'm gonna hop into another question. Ugh. I'm mirrored on my screen, so like trying to fix my hair is a nightmare. And yes, I am vain, so don't even ask. Um, wow, that's cool. Smoking weed on the roof of the White House. Rebel, rebel, man. Okay, so like I said at the beginning, a lot of y'all asked about music, and this is another music question. So, who are my favorite musicians? Uh, who are my favorite musicians? Wow, this is a solid question. This is a very different question. Um, I think the first one that comes to mind, because this is like one of the people whose albums I did not end up including into my top five, is Micah Levi, uh, who was the person from Mikachu and the Shapes, who is really really cool. The album that I wasn't able to include in my list is Feeling Romantic, Feeling Tropical, Feeling Ill, which is a really fun, like experimental, interesting record. The what I love about Micah Levi is that their music. They also scored Under the Skin, which is that really interesting. I think Scarlett Johansson movie. Um, anyway, their music accomplishes something that I've always wanted to accomplish musically, which is to it feels so it's so like exactly what they their vision. It communicates their vision of music so clearly, where it's like it's not just taking on like popular song forms. Um, it's not replicating. Like when you listen to it, you are transported into their mind, and you there's no point of reference. But it's so listenable. It's so incredibly listenable, and it's so good. And I think that's a really really difficult combo to accomplish, is to have this kind of music where you can't be like, oh, it sounds like the White Stripes, oh, it sounds like uh, the Beatles, where you can't like identify their points of reference, but also it's like it's not like angsty, it's not like intentionally inaccessible like noise music can be, or other kinds of like harsh music can be. Um, their music, and especially this album, feeling romantic, feeling tropical, feeling ill, is is really beautiful. It's like it's a long album. I think it's across like three, or it's like a double album, I think, at least. Um, so it's very long, but it's really beautiful. It's like listening to a modern symphony, or a modern like opera, or something of that nature, where it's like an extended piece of music that you listen to the whole thing, and it develops across the whole thing. Um, Ajari said, "I want to write music like that one day, producing things that reflect me but can be relatable to other people. Sometimes is my goal." You absolutely should check them out. I think you'll really dig it. But yeah, I agree. That's so 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 cool. I really recommend it, and it's hard. I think that's probably like a lot of musicians' goal, is to really like cut to the core and express themselves fully, um, while also, because music is communication, like art is communication. Um, uh, like if you're you can make music forever that only you listen to, but it's not accomplishing what you want it to accomplish, because it's like talking to a wall. It's like music needs the listener, just like all art needs a listener. It's like something Ursula K. Le Guin has said about her writing is that writing is co-created by the reader. The book doesn't exist until people are reading it. You need people to complete the process of art making. And so to have that aspect where it's like, on the one hand, it's like exactly what you want it to be. You're not making any compromises and you're making it as beautiful as you possibly can to you, and also having it be that kind of aesthetically pleasing, communicable, listenable quality is like the pinnacle of music. Um, Court, uh, hey, what's up? Okay, I'm gonna maybe jump back into the music questions, but I do want to answer this. This is a really good question. Thank you for asking it. Tell us how you prepare for difficult conversations, conflict, serious and non-serious suggestions. Welcome. Okay. Well, uh, I do have some suggestions for this. Not earlier, last year, I was preparing for a conversation with my parents, a difficult conversation where I was asking them to start paying reparations because I'm white, my family is white, and it was in the midst of the BLM uprising last year, and I was just feeling like what I can do is um, what I have the power to do is speak to my family. So I did that. Um, and what I did to prepare for that was, um, oh my God, these questions. I love you guys. Um, what I did to prepare for that was sort of outline talking points of the conversation from beginning to end. I have this document saved somewhere. It's like a small, it's just like bullet points of like, uh, like this. Like I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's like, we come from, as some of you may know, it's my ancestors owned slaves. So we more than anyone have an obligation to pay reparations, and it's just sort of like talking points like that, like ideas, things that I might say, also things that they might say. They were actually really receptive to this idea, which I'm really glad about. But yeah, so just giving yourself, almost like having, sometimes I have like arguments in my head and it's like kind of a problem that I've had to deal with, but at the same time doing that a little bit, if you can control it, if you can uh, mediate it, that can be a good way to prepare for difficult conversations. um, and I do think writing it down is a super big way to help with that. And another I don't know if I'm gonna have funny things for this. I wish I did, almost just to like lighten it a little bit. But another thing I think is meditating. Like actually just meditating. Meditate for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, like an hour before you're gonna go into this conversation. Meditate, and just like forget the moment. Forget what you're about to do. Forget the rest of the day. Just like be in the moment and let your brain, as much as possible, decompress from from the stress of having to do something difficult like that. And then I guess the last thing I would say is, to amp yourself up, to in whatever way you can. Sometimes it's like an affirmation. Sometimes it's listening to your favorite song. Um, I will share this story. When I was up for my salary negotiation at a job that I had like 4 years ago, I knew it was coming. I knew when the meeting was going to be. So for like a full half hour in advance, I was playing. Wow. I played on repeat this song from the anime Bleach. It's like the epic, like high stakes, like battle song where everything is going according to the protagonists, in well for the protagonist, and that got me so amped up. Okay, this is like a tag on to this question. What's your conflict prep makeup vibe? I think that really depends on who I am going to be speaking with, but I definitely think, like in general, like you want to be. I think we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but like I try to dress for myself and like make myself as happy with how I look as possible. And I think especially for conflict, what I would want to do is like a power vibe. So like black and gold, maybe like a stark red lipstick. Those don't have to be combined, but like something that is like if if Grace Jones is like can do it, it's like if like something like hard 80s like shoulder pads. That is the vibe. Like you want to look intimidating. You want people to want you to approve of them. You know, that setting yourself up for success. This is something that Marianne taught me, but setting yourself up for success is like 90% of the battle sometimes. So that is definitely my recommendation for, for a makeup vibe. Okay, um, I have to go back through the chat right now and look through these. Da, da, da. Okay, so Alex has asked me to make up a haiku on the spot on how much chat means to me. Give me a second. I haven't made a haiku on the spot in a long time, so it's gonna be a second. Let me try. Okay. All y'all are so great. The things you say give me life. Um, Please like and subscribe. Okay, mission accomplished. Da, da, da. Um, let's see. Talking about uh, sun signs. Happy Aquarius season. Love Aquariuses. Ajari said, I'll need an outline when I come out as non-binary to my mom. She heard me introduce myself with my chosen name, but she was offended and made it about her, so I don't know how she'll take it. That's hard. It's and sometimes, especially like with parents and stuff, it's like it's a process. Like it's not an event; it's a process. Um, I wish you all the best with that. I definitely do think you should amp yourself up. I think you should just be really centered and like know like be honest with yourself and like be like this is who I am, like and trust yourself. Really, really, really trust yourself. Don't let anyone else's perception of you get in your head because only you can decide who you are. Okay. Shoulder pads. These things take time. Okay. All right. Great. Thanks. I'm glad you guys liked the haiku. I did too. Um, wow. Maybe that's a hidden talent of mine. Hmm. That really sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, Ajari. Yeah. Um, it's not going to be forever. That is super difficult. Yeah, I really like seriously, like you are the only person who can decide who you are, and we life is ridiculous. Like we have so many just like arbitrary boxes and rules foisted onto us when the reality is that we are like souls inhabiting these strange bodies for a limited amount of time in a world that is constantly changing. We life is so fluid and expansive and undefinable. It's kind of ridiculous that we force each other to put ourselves in these boxes. And why? Why? Shoot. Why? So that certain people can stay in power. That would have been a lot more effective if I had pointed the right direction first. Um, totally. Right. You can't control anything about other people, really. You can't. Um, there's nothing that you can do to change the way that other people are going to act. You can't control other people. That is something that I have had to learn. Seriously, I struggle with that. Thank you, Court, for the the synopsis of this advice. That's solid. It's solid advice, I think. Um, but yeah, it's you are who you are, and understanding that is a lifelong journey, and understanding that is it's like a lot of people never understand themselves. A lot of people go through their entire lives believing whatever they are told about themselves. And oh, haiku form. Gosh, I am all over the place. Solid. Uh, now that is a haiku right there. Um, but yeah, like people like who knows that I have even fully understood myself. Like, what does that even mean? So for someone else to think that they know you better than you know yourself, that is it's preposterous. It's not possible. It's just completely not possible. Um, so yeah, I really do. I'm wishing you all of the best with my heart. So yeah. Um, yes. All right, I'm waiting on this question in the chat. How would you like your kasamas to show for you while your partner is away? Oh my gosh, you guys. Can you name some things that you'd appreciate as collective neighborly support? Um, wow. This is a difficult question. Yeah, I think it would be fun to, I don't know. I don't know, y'all. This is like a really difficult one for me. I am thinking about I'm gonna be like baking stuff sometime soon. I don't have it like hard written in plans. I would love to like give you guys some baked goods. I think that would be really nice. It's like I like giving things to people. I hate uh, giving gifts, or I hate I yeah I hate being honestly I hate being given gifts because it's really difficult for me. It's like I never know what I want, and or like the things that I want are like boring, or things that it's like I want to go to the hardware store and replace my screwdriver that's bad and get a new screwdriver. Um, Recipe trade would be good. Food stuff. I think food stuff would be really good. And thank you, Marion, for saying it's okay not to know the answer yet. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm doing okay though. I do wanna say that um, I I'm doing okay. I'm like feeling good. Marion and I are talking all the time. So it's weird, but I don't know that I know the answer yet, other than like sharing food with each other. Sharing food with each other is like the definite answer. Um, but other than that, I'm not sure yet, because I don't think I can even say that I feel the full impact of it yet. Um, but I really appreciate you asking this, and I appreciate the consideration and the concern. That is really really sweet. And yeah, I I want to thank you for asking that. Yeah. Um, okay. Great. Alex asks, if you could have two superpowers, what would they be? And your superpower can't be to generate more superpowers. All right. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not the kind of person who wishes for more wishes. I like structure. I like living within the spirit of the law, not just the letter. Um, so two superpowers is like, since there's two. If there weren't two, I wouldn't say this, but since there's two, being able to fly, definitely. Being able to fly would be a so cool. And it's like I'm really glad you said two, because I never get to say being able to fly, um, because it just seems, I don't know. It seems like I don't know, but like with two, yes, being able to fly is definitely one of them, and the other one would be uh, the other one would be wow, I don't even know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't I superpowers. I don't know. I don't want to be invisible. I have no interest in that. I feel like that's just like hijinks. I'm not necessarily interested in hijinks. Maybe um, maybe being able to stop time would be fun. Uh, I think ooh, being able to speak any language would be really sick. That's like a very useful superpower, especially with flying. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't know though. Something about like stopping time. It's like I think I had it's like when I was younger, I had this like fantasy of like when like that Time Watches movie came out in like the early 2000s, and like time stopping was in the air. I had this like fantasy of like stopping time and going to a bank and stealing all of the money out of the bank. Um, yeah, that would be cool. Growing food instantly, another good one. Y'all are doing really good. Um, dude, what else? It's like that's why I don't want to be invisible because you can get caught when you're invisible. But stopping time, no one's ever gonna catch you. Um, oh, languages. I mean, this is superpowers. Y'all enjoy the time. Um, Well, but by spirit of the law, I mean like you don't have to tell me not to wish for more wishes. That's all that I mean. It's like I'm not a law-abiding citizen by any means. Um, but yeah, uh, yeah, maybe Ajari, you're right. Maybe I already have this superpower. Maybe I'm stopping time right now so that I can think of things and then pretending to think of things afterwards. Um, yeah. That's so funny. Growing food instantly is great. The thing is like I don't really want superpowers. I want to be able to like I want like a place to live normally. I want can my superpower be ending capitalism? Can it be like redistributing land back to indigenous people because that is the superpower that I want. Like fuck like I don't care. I don't want to be able to do random shit. I just want to be able to hang out with my friends and not suffer. Is that too much to ask? Um, yeah, I don't know. Like let's remake the Avengers with that as a superpower. Like Captain Fuck America. Um, da, 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 da. Yes, the government would experiment on you if you had powers. It turns out the government will experiment on you even if you don't have powers sometimes. So, uh, uh, y'all, I don't. Okay, see, this is why I'm glad we're here because over a text or like in a letter or something, this would be difficult to explain. I you when you invite me to play a game, I'm not gonna be like, you didn't say not to cheat, so I'm gonna cheat. Um, I will not cheat. But that doesn't mean that I give a fuck about the law um, or rules. Um, have I read Red Superman? I haven't read Red Superman. Presumably that is a comic book. Um, don't know why I said it like that. Um, uh, do I cheat in Monopoly? No, I don't cheat in Monopoly. Here's why. Because cheating isn't winning. You don't win when you cheat. When you cheat, you're actually losing. So uh, I want to win. I want to win when I play games with people. When I play competitive games, I do get competitive, and I do want to win. And the only really way to win is by not cheating. It's just by being the best. It's like if you have to cheat to win, you're not the best, and I want to be the best. So, and yes, Monopoly. I don't think I feel like I've finished a game of Monopoly maybe once in my life, and it was devastating when like, cause like, yeah, right, the two genders. It's like, I love sneaky cheating. Ha 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 ha. Yes, well, y- when you cheat and I still win from not cheating, that's what makes me feel really good. So, you know, to each their own. Because then you're not the best. It's like, see, I can't lie to myself. I'm not gonna lie to myself. It's like if I have to cheat to keep my title of the best, then I'm not the best. Ooh, the premise of the comic is that Superman was raised in the Soviet Union and grew up communist. That is really interesting. Is this like an officially licensed Superman comic, or is this like a like um I don't know what to call this, like subversive fanfic. I don't know. Well, I do not judge y'all for cheating. That's just something that I don't do. And if you want to cheat, more power to you. I feel you. Uh, you gotta be true to you. And if you get pleasure from cheating and from doing mischief and chaos, um, do it. Do it. Um, wow, that's so interesting. I am gonna have to check that out. I don't really read like superhero comics. I'm more of like a manga person, but that sounds really interesting. And I believe I take very seriously your recommendations, Court. So I will check that out. Thank you. Um, wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Even more incentive for me to read it. Honestly, that sounds like a lot of fun. Um, ooh, I cheat the gender binary as an envy, so I'm okay with cheating in other things. Interesting perspective, um, y'all. This is discourse. This is the discourse I want to be having. Like, what what level of cheating are you okay with, and why? That's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to talk about this. Uh, yeah. Um, ba, ba, ba. Well, uh, does anyone have any other burning questions that they want to ask uh, before we call it a day? Um, there's one more. There's a question that I want to wrap up on because I think it's hilarious. Um, oh, what are my favorite games as of late? Board game, PC, etc. Oh, and do I have questions for you? Sure. Okay, so I'll answer Jonathan's question, and then I'll ask you one of my own. Um, let's see. Favorite games as of late. I have been um, I have been replaying Final Fantasy X, which we actually have talked about previously. It was really good, enjoying it. But actually, I'm also playing a little bit of this game called Nioh, Nioh, which is unfortunately a game about a white man who goes to Japan and becomes a god-killing samurai. Um, it's made by a Japanese company too. It sucks that that's what it is, but it's really fun. Like the combat is ridiculously fun. Highly recommended if you are into that kind of game. Um, oh, hey Jackie, hi. We are having a cute lunchtime hang. This is really nice. I'm glad y'all are here. This has been a lot of fun. Uh, this is really cool. Thank you. Uh, Kenny, thank you for the complimenting the thumbnail. Uh, yeah, it's Fraser. It's Fraser Crane. Um, da, da, da. Yeah, Marion, are you talking about the synopsis of Neo? It's bad. It's The Last Samurai bad. It's so dumb. It's like, why does it have to be a white person? Who fucking cares? Um, but like, I don't know. I don't know the rest of the story. Um, I just play it to kill demons, and that's a lot of fun. Do I have questions for you? Okay. Have I played the new Zelda game? Which new Zelda game? I've played Breath of the Wild, but I haven't played. I think one came out, Hyrule Warriors 2: Age of Calamity. Wow. I think it came out and then recites the full title. Um, I have not played that one, but it looks fun. Uh, is it worse than Scarlett Johansson playing an Asian character? No, this is just a story about like white saviorism. That is erasure, and that is not cool. And that's a real person doing it. It's like theoretically, like this story of like a white person coming to Japan and being a white savior, even though it's like hugely ridiculous and obviously involves like killing demons, so it's not very realistic in that regard. Um, that is like it's just a fictional story. This is a Scarlett Johansson playing an Asian person. That is a real human being uh, intentionally erasing Asian people from existence. It's like not cool. It's very very not cool. Um, Although both are not cool, you know. It's like, and I don't even like ranking them. They're both bad. They're both really bad. I haven't gotten a chance to play Age of Calamity yet, but it looks fun. I played the original Hyrule Warriors, and that was a lot of fun. So I bet that that's really cool too. Um, let's see. Questions for y'all. Um, who are your guys' favorite musician? Like, if you had to pick one, who is your favorite musician? I'm super curious to know what people like, what people listen to. Um, so yeah, post your comments in the chat. Um, what other YouTube cliches can I do? It's like, if you want my Instagram handle, it's in the description. Um, In Love with a Ghost. Is that a band? That's a sick name. Ooh, they are French. Oui, oui. Um, Jamila Woods. Okay, cool. Wow. All right. Some Jamila Woods fans in the house. Um, ooh, Fela Kuti. Okay. I am prepared for a widespread. Ooh, Blue Scholars, a Seattle-based hip-hop duo. I haven't listened to them. Um, Vagabond and a band called Tangerine. Very cool. I actually haven't heard of either of those either. This is cool. I'm stealing Rex from you guys. Um, y'all are hip kids into what the kids are into these days. You kids. And I am an 80-year-old. I listen to the old the old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra. No, I'm just kidding. But I love getting a leg up on good music. Um, cool, y'all. Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate that. I appreciate y'all coming out to say hi and ask questions and talk about food and drugs and stuff, and grilled cheese sandwiches. Lee Davey. He's in a boy group. He's also a producer and songwriter. And I like how he breaks barriers by being himself. What boy group is Lee Davey in? Just curious if I know them. Um, Old Lincoln Park. I I listened to Old Lincoln Park a wee bit when they were not old. Um, but oh, you know the question that I wanted to end on, Marion. Um, Also, lol BTX. Okay, I don't know that boy group, but I'll check both of them out. That sounds really cool. And yeah, thanks again. Da, da, da. Thanks again for coming. I do have one final question that I want to end on. But before I do, yeah, so thank you all for being here. I really, really appreciate it. I love having this time with you. It's nice. It's been so great to chat with y'all, and hear from you and to talk with you. It's like a really cool way of connecting with people. Um, please, please, honestly, do like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. It's like something that I'm building and working on, and would really love for. I mean, I'm hoping to make stuff that people are gonna like. So I really hope that you will consider doing that or watch my other videos or something. Um, but I do really appreciate just having these streams with y'all. I hope you'll come back. I do this every Wednesday at 1 p.m. So I will see you then. And what are you gonna ask an open? I am not going to ask an open-ended question, but feel free to answer this as well. I just think that this is a really funny food swap soon. Ooh, Pensit. Yes, I love Pensit. I am likely going to be making oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. So if y'all are into that, there we go. Yes, YouTuber Tings. Okay, so the last question, which you are feel free to answer as well, is: do you like trees? And the answer is yes.